Tonight with us, we will have presenting Adriano Sorgente from the recruiting team, Alessia Ferlito from the admissions team, and Lorenzo Vicky representing the students of the Master in International Food and Beverage Management from ESCP Business School. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here with us tonight. ISER will be just a couple of minutes. Thank you very much to whoever arrived just on time. We know having this webinar for people from all around the world, maybe it will take a couple of minutes for some of the participants to join us. So we will start in just a second with this presentation. As I was saying, right here below on the Zoom menu, you will find the Q&A box where you will be able to leave all your questions that will be answered by the end of the presentation. And you will also find the chat box. Here you can say hello and you can let us know where you're connecting from tonight, where you're watching this webinar from. So if our speakers agree, we can start with the presentation. As I was saying, this event is called Why Master in Food and Beverage Management in Italy and France. And from the ESCP team, we have Adriano Sorgente from the recruiting department. We have Alessia Ferlito from the admissions department. And we have one student from the Master in International Food and Beverage Management, Lorenzo Vicky. So if you agree, everyone, we can start with the presentation. I leave you the floor. Thank you very much.
Okay, hello everyone. Nice to meet you. As Lucia told you, I'm Adriano, and I work for the Master in Management and for the Master in International Food and Beverage Management in the recruitment department. With me, Alessia, who manage the admission for the International Food and Beverage Management, and Lorenzo, one of our students. So, Alessia, can you share the presentation?
Yes, hi guys, nice to meet you. I'm going to share this screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're ready, Adriano, we can start.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So we just start the webinar with a quick video that introduced the school, introduce the professor, the campus we have. It's just a general video of just 2 minutes, okay? So I let the video speak for me, okay? See you in 2 minutes. Not again. Sorry, I think some of you can see some lags in the video. I don't know, Alessia, if you can see them, but me and Lucia, yes. So we try again with the second video we have. I'm sorry, but sometimes we have some connection issues. But let's go on with this slide. As you can see, there are some characteristics, okay, some words we search in students who decide to apply to ESCP. We are looking for motivated students, organized students, flexible students, because you must change campus, you must work in group, you must adapt yourself to different culture, to different habits, to different point of view. So it's a really challenging master, but it's really the master can give you a lot if you're able to be motivated. Okay, so I just want a quick point of view from Lorenzo. So do you agree with this slide? Are you organized? Are you motivated?
Yeah.
Do
Yes.
you agree? Because sometimes, yeah, this is the point of view of the admissions, but sometimes the real point of view is from the students, obviously.
Yes, speaking on my side, for sure, I agree with everything that I just saw in the video. I still remember the first time that I was at the Turin campus to do my test there. And seriously, they are looking for people that are passionate to this segment of studies, because for sure, then you will be a manager, or you will be have to work in those kind of fields. So they are really looking for people that love the food, but also the beverage sector.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your point of view. We just go on to the other slide. Here you can find some main points. So you can apply to the master having a bachelor or a master degree, or in your third or fourth year of university. So you don't need a bachelor to apply, but you need it in to start the program. The duration is 1 year full-time master. So you will it's divided between 2 different countries, Turin and Paris. And from last year, we are ranked 1st worldwide. This is a great achievement we have reached. We are really proud of this. It's thanks to the hard work the professors are doing, but the hard work of our students who are hired in good companies, and they are doing a great job. On this slide, you can find the structure of the program, but don't worry, you can find all the information about the structure on the website. So the first online term is only for students that haven't reached 240 CPS during their bachelor, and they must do some courses online from July to September. Then you'll spend 2 terms in Turin, and where you will study some management courses linked to food and beverage sector. And then the last term is spent on Paris campus. Then you will have a 4 months internship and the thesis. So you can write your thesis during your work experience, or you can do after it. So what about you, Lorenzo? What did you do about your thesis?
Since I'm looking forward to launch my own gin production, I will do a thesis regarding the superalcoholics. especially under the point of view of the consumer insights. So like the trends that people are looking to when are buying alcoholics.
Okay, perfect, nice. And Alessia, can you go on, please? Here you can find some experiences you are going to do during the master. So for sure, you will have a lot of company experiences inside and outside the school. We bring testimonials in class, so managers, CEO of the company, with the company we collaborate with. We have a consultancy project to prove your abilities, the things you have learned in class in a real company environment. And the most, I think, one of the best actually experiences is the one in the one we call the food ballet. So you will have during this experience the possibility to deepen the knowledge of the food and beverage culture in Italy, exploring the wine producer. So maybe Lorenzo, do you still remember the experiences you did?
Yeah, yes, for sure. I will always remember the consultancy project, for example, that I did with Lavazza. I think that every one of you know the coffee producer from Italy, since it's one of the major players that we have also in Europe, but also worldwide. And after those 7 months that we spent with the company, working side by side with the managers, they also proposed to us some working offers. So we are more than proud of that. Regarding instead for the food ballet, so the 1 week that we spent mainly in Parma, we had the possibility to visit many kind of producers from the salami production, like Culatello, or rather than prosciutto di Parma, of course, but also the cheese, like the Parmigiano Reggiano, for example. And it was a lovely week because we spent also some lectures with the students from Alma, that is one of the most well-known culinary schools that we have in Europe and in the world.
And another question that is linked to this topic, and do you think it's a good way both to enlarge your network outside, but do you think it's a good experience to enlarge your network inside? With your classmates, do you think it's something like a team building activity or not?
For sure, both regarding the consultancy project and also the study trip, like the one in the Food Valley in Parma, that is not only the only one, because for example, for what concerning the consultancy project, you will be divided into small groups on an average of 4 and 5. And you will have to work with them, with your colleagues and also your students. And regarding the Food Valley, we did also a lot of activities, for example, of team building, like also cooking the last dinner all together. And that for sure will also increase the idea of working together with different people and share like moments and talk about whatever.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Here you can find some data about the class and about the study background, but I leave the stage to Alessia, who will give you more details on this slide and for the other one.
Okay, so thank you, Adriano. And guys, here you can see a few information about our class profile. As you can see, we made a class of 68 students coming from 20 different nationalities. So this means that if you have been looking for an environment very multicultural, very international, very stimulating, ESCP and this master is definitely the place to be. And on average, we have students with 24 years old. And we do have students with a professional experience, but it's not mandatory. As Adriano just said, you can enter the master with a bachelor or a master degree. And the most important part of the admissions process is the final interview, because the local academic director and some professionals or alumni are going to ask you your potential, your motivation, your attitudes. So no worries if you haven't done any real professional experience. Just try to be really honest and just try to be really engaged with this program. And also, speaking of which, I would say that we don't really care about the academic background, and you can come from management business or language and literatures, or I don't know, political and social sciences, and it's fine. Along the way, you will get covered all the functional areas of management business, and also you will deepen your knowledge in food and beverage related subjects. So really no worries. And I will ask Lorenzo about his experience in the class, if you would like to share something with us about your colleagues.
For sure, for sure. Well, one of the, I think, at least on my opinion, the really added value of ECP is their multinationalities background for every single student that we have in class. And this is something that is really amazing, I would say, because you will have the possibility to speak with foreign students, so share different thoughts about the food and beverage world, but not only. And then everything is going around the network, because you will have someone, for example, that will live in Germany. So if you need to have some kind of advice in Germany, you can easily ask to some of your colleagues, rather than in India, Lebanon, or whatever, every single other nationality.
Thank you, Lorenzo. And yes, I totally agree. I would suggest you guys to get in touch with our alumni, or students who actually are studying right now the program, because they will be able to pass on to you some tips and suggestions to make the most out of your experience, but not only into class, but also overseas, talking about your professional future path. And what we do. So other than career fairs or official recruiting days, we also have an office which normally supports all the events, sports, student society, and so on. And those moments are all moments of confrontation in a very fun context. So again, I would suggest you to get involved in those events, because it's a really great occasion to make your networking grow a little bit, both on personal and professional levels. And you can also easily get in touch with some professionals, and one day you might also be able to work with them. So no worries, just again, take the most out of that experience of those events, and just rely on our colleagues if you really need any support with health issues or housing, stuff like that. We do know that it's not that easy to get an accommodation, especially if you are coming from overseas. But no worries, really. We have an housing office both in Turin and Paris, and our colleagues will help you, will support you. You might go for accommodation studio or shared apartments or dorms. I think it's really important to know that we don't really have any dorms inside the campus, but you can easily get an accommodation close by each area. Lorenzo, where did you live back in Paris?
It was for sure not easy to find an house, but at the end, every one of us managed to do that. And I was living in a fantastic arrondissement in the 9th. So just behind the Opera and Galleria Lafayette, and it was lovely. And at the end, yeah, you can manage in an easy way to find an house. You just have to look a little bit.
Super. Okay, I will let you watch another video, which is gonna share with you what I've just mentioned. and we will get back here in a while.
Just stop the video. Can you just please to connect your PC to the hotspot, because I think
you're not able to see that.
No, it's like just frames with some lags, so not at all.
I will try my best. Just give me a second. My hotspot doesn't work.
Okay.
But yeah, let's give it another try.
Yeah. If not, probably I can try. I can try sharing it from my screen.
Yeah, if you wish, you can try it out.
Yeah, I try. Let's see. Okay. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Can you see it well?
Yes, I will say yes.
Okay.
Okay, Adriano, so I think okay. And there you go. So basically, what we can offer to you is a fully support from the career services in terms of workshop, company meetings, and one-to-one support. As we talk about a full-time program, of course, you will be attending a lot of events promoted by the career service until you easily get reallocated into the working scenario, the working panorama. And as Adriano just stated, we do promote a learning by doing approach, which means that it's not going to be a one-way transmission of knowledge from our faculty or our teacher to our students, but it's going to be a master where students are very welcome to share their own thoughts, idea, experiences, and everything is going to make it let's say, hands-on experience. Lorenzo, do you agree with this?
Yes, for sure. As Alessia already said, we have like this super good balance between working with companies and in-school approach, so lectures and activities like with company testimonials and business games.
And ESCP is, of course, very linked with leading industries and companies. So we normally share with our candidates how to introduce themselves to the international recruiters, how to build long-term relationships. So I would suggest you really to take part actively to those events so that you can get ready for the professional scenario. And Adriano, shall we go on? Okay. In terms of employment, here you have got some information about like specific numbers, and you can see that 94% of our students are employed within 6 months of graduation. So in terms of timing, you can easily switch from your academic experience to your professional one. And 81% have a job in the food and beverage sector, but I mean, you don't really have to seek to that sector. Of course, you can also find some like careers professions such as communication manager, brand manager, product manager, but we will see all of them in the next slide. And very important to know is an internship offer, because of course you can find some internship offers throughout our career services, or you can also find it on your own, and you can rely on our colleagues in the career development to to best understand how to introduce yourself to the company you are the most interested in. And if we go to the next slide, you can, no, the previous one. Yes, you can see that some of the candidates, some of our students are like brand manager, regional manager, or supply chain manager, and so on. So you can easily like find your networking, you can ease your job search, and of course you can search from your academic and professional background, and you can use ESCP tools to best address your career goals along the way, of course. And here you can see some companies we normally work for. We have, of course, Ferrero, Lavazza, Coca-Cola, but I mean, I think they're not all of the companies we normally have, but for sure the most important one we normally invite for the career fairs. And Lorenzo, would you like to share something about the career fairs?
Yes, definitely. There will be like at least one career fair per campus every single year. For the one of food and beverage, actually, there is one specific for just our course of studies, because then there will be one general with also other companies like consulting, as Deloitte, PwC, whatever, like the for one. And yeah, for example, as I said, I did a company consultancy project with Lavazza, and then they offer us working position. So for sure, it's a good stuff. That I have some friend of mine that are working for IFBM, Bacardi, Ferrero, Costa, Barilla, and Coca-Cola as well, from my course of study, from my class.
Thank you. Okay, here we have another video, which is going to show you what Lorenzo just said. Okay. Adrian, I think you can go on with the Q&A.
Here we have just collected all the question about you may have about admission, about how to apply, about the requirements. So we are going to read them, and then we have the real Q&A where you can ask us your question, where maybe you can ask to Lorenzo the question you have, doubts, and if you want, you can raise your hands and you can speak instead of writing without any problem. But before the Q&A, so before the technical part, I want to let Lorenzo just tell us his experience in general in ESCP, or something he wants to share with you, and maybe at the end of this part, Lorenzo, you can share some information, some tips about the admission part, and about how you prepare yourself to the interview or to the test in general. But we can do it at the end of the Q&A, so they know all the requirements maybe for this for those tips.
For sure. Okay, so where to start? Because for sure, ESCP is a notion of information, of networking, because you will have the possibility to meet many companies, to meet different students, also from the other masters, because as you already said, I also participated in some of the events that ESCP organized, like the sport events rather than the regatta, in which every single students from the 6 different campuses around Europe could participate on it. So you will have the possibility to create even a stronger network. And this is really fantastic, because it's a way of creating ideas between different students from different masters. And at the end, who never knows, you can even create something in a business segment with different students from different masters. If I have to go on with some tips regarding the admission test, I would say seriously try to take off the fact that you are really ambitious in this course of studies, because we will, if you will be admitted, you will see that like the majority part of the time we will speak just about food with many companies, and even something really in depth. So you should have for sure this path for achieving a good interview. And then of course you can easily try to test yourself with some GMAT tests, as well as SHL tests for logic quizzes, because they will be required by your interviewer. Yeah, mainly that's it.
Okay. Yeah. I don't remember exactly, but it was mandatory for you, the SHL or the GMAT, or not? No.
For me, yes.
Okay, so that's not your fault, but it's not mandatory anymore. But we are gonna depend all the requirements. So don't worry. If you have the GMAT, yeah, as you say, you can upload it, and it will be considered as a plus. But yeah, it's not mandatory anymore, the GMAT. But we go on. Don't worry. It was mandatory for you. So yeah. Okay, Alessia.
Okay, so in general terms, speaking about the admissions process, guys, I will split it into parts. The first part is completely online, so you need to upload all the documents we normally ask the students. And as we already said, the mandatory requirements for joining the program is a bachelor or a master degree, and a lot of passion for the food and beverage sector. Just to give you general information, the limited average is 30 years old. But if you're really passionate about the food and beverage sector, just try to give it a try anyway. And we can have a chat with the local academic director if you are 30 years old, and we can see what we can do for you. And again, the program is open to anyone, regardless the study background. So no worries about that. And even though you are currently attending the last year of bachelor, is fine. You don't really have to get the final certificate when you submit all the online application, but you can share it with us as soon as possible, at least once it's ready. Okay, we already go through that. And okay, there you got the GMAT test. So the GMAT is a logic test, is no longer mandatory, but of course, if you already got one of the logic tests, such as GMAT or Tajmaj or GRE, you are more than welcome to share it with us, and we will evaluate them in the interview. Speaking about the English certificate, is mandatory. Of course, if your degree was taught in English, you can be exonerated from submitting the English certificate. Otherwise, I would suggest you to stick to those scores you can see in the slide and submit the English certificate along with the other online documents. We normally ask for a reference and motivational letters. We don't really care about your position or like some specific experience, but we do care about like evaluate your experience from different eyes. So you can ask to your teacher, or like if you have done some professional experience, you can ask to your colleagues back to work. But it's very like important to see if you are the right potential, if you have all the objectives that Adriano told you at the end of the presentation, because for us it's very important like to fit the right profile in the right class. So yes, motivational reference letters are mandatory. In terms of tuition fee, here you have the specific information. So for students with at least 240 credits, the tuition fee is 29,000 euros. Otherwise, on the other hand, for students which haven't got 240 credits, there are 3,000 euros to pay, and it's gonna be 32,000 euros. And the payment, of course, can be split into different installments. Normally, once you get admitted, you have to pay the deposit by 2 weeks after receiving the admissions offer, and then you can split the deposits into installments to be paid by August and February next year. Tuition covers, as you can see here, all the interactive activities in the master, the seminars, the projects, and also the study trips. But I think it's important to stress that the tuition fee doesn't cover the accommodation and the the living expenses, let's say. In terms of scholarships, we normally offer some scholarship based on merit and economic needs, available up to 9,000 euros. We don't really have any specific documents available right now, but once you get admitted, you will receive all the specific details about the scholarship, how to apply, and which are the documents required to apply over the summertime. So let's say June and July. If you are an Italian student, so you will also get information about the Millennium Awards, which covers 50% of the tuition fee. Okay, and just to to let you know, especially for Italian students, that ESCP has some specific agreements with some banks such as San Paolo, BNL, or Banca Sella. So if you have been looking for some economic needs, you can also take into consideration to apply to some like support economic aid. And in terms of admissions, I would suggest you to save this date. You can see here, Saturday, 21st February, because we will have an admission training session dedicated to the application form, the motivational letter, the job interview. So feel free to book your place here. I think you can use the QR code. Otherwise, you can easily get back to Adriano or to me, and we can provide you with all the specific information, and you can register yourself into the session. And Adriano, I think here you can introduce yourself again.
Yeah, here you can find my contact, my phone number, and my email. I prefer you to send me an email, so I'm sure I can be available for you and reply you, and then we can schedule a call without any problem. So feel free to write me. If you are not sure about the eligibility of your profile, you can send me an email with the CV, with your grades, or with your transcript. I will take a look on that, and I will come back to you with a feedback, so you know if you are eligible, if you can participate to the interview, and yeah, just an informal feedback I can give you. So the presentation is done. I have a question for you, Lorenzo. They are asking me, what are the professional difficulties you may encounter in the food and beverage sector?
If we are talking about like getting a work,
I think so, because it's anonymous, so I cannot. I don't know if it's a she or a he, but professional difficulty. I mean, after the master or before the master, or for internship in general.
As also the data on the slides are showing, there are actually any kind of difficulties. On my side, for example, I already have 4 different working offers, and I have just to choose, and I'm still looking forward to receive some other offers. So it's pretty easily, and they could be from worldwide, from my own town in Tuscany. But I also have some working offer in Turin and London, rather than in America and Asia. So it's pretty easy, because food and beverage, especially in Italy, is the first economic under sector that we have, and it's really strong. It's seriously strong, because every one of us should eat, you know, at least.
Okay. And what was your first the first experience in let's say professional experience you had?
I had one previous working experience before starting the master. It was still related to the food and beverage sector, and it was in London, and I was working as product sourcing, so selecting the new products for the 3 new openings of 3 stores in London, and also as an assistant buyer. So I was, I would say, in the sales segment.
Okay, perfect. I remind you that it's not important the background you have. So Lorenzo, in a specific case, was completely his background
not
is
related to the business studies, for example, because I did a bachelor at one University of Science Gastronomy, so it was related to the food and beverage, but not to business studies. So yeah, and I didn't find like myself in a difficult way also following every single class. So the only thing is should be like passion, because it's really important.
Exactly. So for sure, if you have some knowledges of previous management courses, it will be a little bit easier for you to follow the lesson. But don't worry, because a professor try to help you, and if you have any doubts, you can write them, you can speak with them, and they try to explain the subject they're teaching the easiest way. Then the best part of this master, of this teaching method itself, is that you work on cases, you have a lot of group works, so those this let you get more easily, so you are into the subjects more in a easier way, rather than studying on your own. So you are the projects you do, the presentation are all part of the final exam. So it's really important to work well in group, to be into the group. So the participation is really important aspect of the group work and the master. As you know, the attendance is mandatory, so it's really important to follow all the classes you have. Let's go on with the questions. Good evening, Alessia. I'm from Mexico. How long in advance do I have to start the application, considering the visa, validating my economics bachelor degree, etc., etc.?
Well,
maybe just sorry to interrupt you. I can share with you the calendar, so it can help you in the reply. Give me 1 second. I just stop sharing this and I share the the calendar I have here with all the deadlines. But don't worry, you can find it on the website, or if you have any problem in reaching it, you can send me an email. I will send you that document, so don't worry. Okay, sorry, I'm just opening share screen. Okay, and okay, this is the calendar.
Okay, so thank you, Adriano, for sharing. You can see here the next deadline is February, is like mid-February. And anyway, in general terms, we suggest you guys to submit the application as soon as possible, as we have a limited number of seats available into the class, and especially for students coming overseas. I know that the visa process might take some time, so the sooner the better. And once you get admitted, you will also receive a certificate, which is going to state in your enrollment to the program, and it's going to be very, very useful to apply for your visa. So I would suggest you to not wait in the very last round. Also, because the very last one that you can see here at the end of June is just dedicated to the students with at least 240 credits. So watch out, guys, also the credits, because if you have only 180 credits, you really need to apply by mid-June. Okay.
Okay, I think it's clear. Is there a limit of admitted students?
Well, I would suggest yes, but as I told you, I mean, we normally have been looking for the right profile for the right class. We really want to have a stimulating and challenging class. So do not worry that much about the seats available, but just try to apply as soon as possible and try to show your real potential and attitudes.
Okay. Hello, if I don't find any housing, how can I do the master from remote?
Unfortunately not. Also because, I mean, one of the main advantages of ESCP is getting an international exposure, I would say. So I strongly believe you should get the most out by traveling to Italy and then to Paris. So the remote option is not available, but other than that, guys, try to live the full experience. So try to get here, to get to Europe, to get to know your colleagues, to get out your comfort zone, because it's gonna be really one-of-a-kind experience.
Okay, we have two questions. I think Lorenzo can reply because I want you to listen the point of view of someone who is working in the food beverage sector, because we are working there for the school. We are working for so we work with some companies, but not directly as Lorenzo is doing and he will do. So I have a question. The question is this the food and beverage sector still struggling after the pandemic, or is it already strong enough to start a solid career?
No,
So actually it's something funny, because he's doing he's starting his new brand of jeans. Yes. but the, you know, alcohol is always one of the top beverage
selling, yes,
products.
Selling beverages. Yeah, I would say definitely not. It's a super solid economics. And if you just scroll down to some articles that you can easily find online under the New York Times, rather than every single website, you will see that the food and beverage is in a constant growth. The economics behind it. In Italy, we are facing an exploit on the export for wines. And it's really, really solid and easy going markets.
Okay, and we have another question regarding the salary. So, do you think in this industry there is a higher gender gap salary-wise?
Definitely not, I would say, because as you may have saw, the many companies that are partner with the university are from multinational entities, so they have a preset salary. So there is not this problem inside this field of studies.
Okay, perfect. I think I totally agree with you. But the point of view of a student and a worker, actually, it's better than mine, I think. So you can have a direct feedback, really from the inside. Do you have any other question about the master? Some question you may have for Lorenzo? I think he's available on LinkedIn to write Lorenzo if they want to write.
Yes, you can drop me a message over there, and I will for sure answer to every one of you if you have other questions.
Perfect. So we have a question for you, Alessia. Hello, I'm from Peru. Is it possible to apply for a visa for study?
Okay, so guys, the visa process is a huge thing. I know that. I'm not the right person to ask for the visa process, because we have an housing office which normally support also the students for getting the visa and or like the documents you normally need.
You can find that I'm writing the email address, so yes, they can write them an email.
Thank you. So we will provide you all the documents you will need to get a visa. So no worries about that. Once you get admitted, you will get the documentation needed to apply for the student's visa and stuff like that. We will support you throughout the way. I'm not able to give you any specific information right now, but in the chat you can find the email address you should email to collect specific information about visa.
Okay, And what languages must we okay, the question is a little bit tricky, but about the languages, I can reply. So the languages of the master, you only have to know the English language, because even you find yourself in Paris, the master will be held in English, fully in English. So you don't have to worry if you don't know French. For sure, if you know the French language, it will be easier for you while you find yourself in Paris, for sure, just living there. Regarding the language for the application, you need to write your application in English, so fully in English. So your document, all your document must be in English. If you have any problems in obtaining your documents in English, you can write me an email, and we will take a look at your documents, and let's see if you can do something, or if you can, or if we can accept them in your native language. Okay. Other questions? Okay, if you don't have any other question, I think we can end the webinar. And then if something come to your mind, you can write me an email without any problem.
Thank you very much, Adriano, Lorenzo, and Alessia, and thank you very much for all our participants for joining us tonight. I'm Lucia from Doxit, and it was an honor for me to moderate this webinar organized in partnership with ESCP Italy to discover all the perks of a Master in Food and Beverage Management in Italy and France. To whoever is interested in obtaining the certificate of attendance issued by Doxity, you can send an email to webinar@doxity.com with your first and last name and the email you use to register to this event. So if there is anything else that our speakers would like to add before we close the webinar? Oh, thanks a lot from Luis. Thank you very much, Luis, for joining us tonight. So we will say goodbye and of course see you soon to Adriano Sorgente from the recruiting team of the Master in International Food and Beverage Management, also to Alessia Ferrito from the admissions team, and Lorenzo Vicky, our testimonial student from the Master in International Food and Beverage Management. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you very much for being here with us tonight. We will be seeing you again on the next webinars organized by Doxity. Thank you very much and have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you,
all.
Thank you, Lorenzo.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Thank you so much for your help.
Bye, guys.
Thank you,
Bye.